What is up, Mets fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Mets'd podcast presented by Fox 1. It is time to juice the Pete Alonso name again on Mets'd. Today we're going to be talking about what's Pete Alonso's actual worth. We've talked about this before. We talked about it last year. Came off of a bad season or a down year for Pete. I shouldn't say bad. It was a down year in 2024. 2025 was fantastic. Pete had a great season, maybe one of the best of his career. And we heard what Scott Boras said. Pete's looking for a 7-year deal. That sounds insane. I don't know any world that Pete Alonso gets a 7-year deal. He comped him to Matt Chapman and Marcus Semien, which was also insane. So in today's episode, we want to kind of give you guys a deep dive into what Pete is actually worth. And we're going to compare him to players now, compare him to players of old, see what his value truly is. Because we want Pete back, but we also know that we just can't give him that contract he's asking for.
No, I think this is also, we have to understand this. We're first of all, as Mets fans, we did this last year. Scott Boras will posture for months, and then eventually you'll get to a table and you'll probably work out a fair deal. Scott Boras famously, it was like 4 years ago now, said JD Martinez was seeking 7 years for $200 million. I think he wound up signing a 2-year deal after that, or 1-year deal with the Dodgers, the Red Sox, whichever year that was. But that's just kind of what he has to do. He's an agent. He's the best there has ever been.
Yes, he's the GOAT.
That's the game. That being said, I think there has to be some kind of middle ground between what's fair for Pete Alonso based on what he's worth and then also what he wants. And I think that only Pete and Boras know that right now, and it'll take months for us to learn that as people on the outside.
Yeah, because when you look at Pete's numbers, they're gaudy offensively. We know that Pete's going to hit 40 home runs. He's going to drive in 100 plus RBIs no matter what, especially in this Mets lineup. He's going to drive in probably 120 every year like he did as long as he's healthy. He gets on base. He didn't strike out as much this year. The exit velos were phenomenal. He was taking war hacks. He was pulling the baseball more. Like all the stuff from this past year of Pete was really great. And it's not that we don't think Pete Alonso should be getting paid what he's worth. He's one of the premier hitters in the game, especially when you're talking about power. And when you look at WRC plus among qualified hitters, he was 8th in Major League Baseball this year. That's ahead of similar first basemen like Freddie Freeman, Vlad Guerrero Jr., Rafael Devers now because he's a first baseman. He's a better hitter than those guys. But where does Pete fall in terms of how much you pay him? The problem is when you kind of look forward 7 years for Pete, probably not the same player he is right now.
You think Pete's definitely a better hitter than Rafael Devers?
I do. I think we've seen enough where Pete is a better hitter. I think Rafael Devers is a more complete hitter, but also moving to first base now, he might not have to be as agile as he was at third. He's also a horrible first baseman. Like Pete. Well, Pete is too defensively, but Pete's got the scoops. Pete's a lead on the scoops.
Pete is a lead in the scoops. I think that does get lost, but Pete also can't throw the ball ever to save his life.
No, he can't. If you told me that him and Devers would have similar careers over the next few years, I totally buy it. I think Pete, I just like him as a home run hitter more than I do Rafael Devers, where Rafael Devers is going to have probably the higher average numbers moving forward.
There's also a part of this that's always like tough for us to wrangle, where we love Pete. I can't really imagine this team, this organization without him at this point. He's been here for so long. He's been so great for us. He's just totally across the board. Pete is everything you want from a star in your team. And you just don't get compensated for the past. You only get compensated for the future. And that's a shitty part of this business, especially how cutthroat it's gotten over the last 5 years as projections and numbers, analytics, as we all like to say, have become much more part of the game. But there's still an elite hitter inside Pete Alonso. And I think that there's one that will be an elite hitter for, at minimum, 2 more years. And I would say up to 5 more years. But I think once you get past 5, I think that you'd be lucky to have a 300 on-base percentage for Pete Alonso. That's where you definitely start to lose me when this contract number can't get bigger than 4.
Yeah, because what we're looking at here in terms of similar guys that have signed, like Freddie Freeman's always the one that I go to because Freddie Freeman, better player than Pete Alonso. Freddie Freeman is a guaranteed Hall of Famer, I think, when his career ends. He was a better fielder. He was a better hitter. He did everything better than Pete. And while he did sign a little bit older than Pete, he signed with the Dodgers at 32 years of age, where Pete's going to be, I think, 31 on this next contract, right? Technically will be his 31-year-old year for the season. Mm-hmm. Freeman signed 6 years, $162 million. And that, to me, like, again, maybe that's why Pete says 7, because he goes, I'm a year younger than Freddie was when he signed. Give me that year that Freddie got.
That might be exactly it.
That's exactly what's happening. He said Freddie Freeman signed at 32. He got 6 years. I'm signing at 31.
But Freddie Freeman's name has not been invoked by Scott Boras or Pete Alonso.
It's because Freddie Freeman's not a Boris guy. He's not going to mention other free agents because that just makes him look bad that he didn't sign those guys or have them on his roster. But 6 years, 162, like that to me, it's kind of tough for Pete to get more than Freddie Freeman when Freddie Freeman is just a better player. Like even in a down season this year for Freddie, he was worth the same amount of wins essentially as Pete Alonso.
And they are different players, but
of course.
I mean, there's a consistency with Freddie Freeman that you don't.
Like Freddie Freeman's not hitting 40 home runs in a season. He's never doing that again. He's never coming close. He might never hit 30 home runs again in a season.
No, but even 2 years ago, and again, like you hate to pigeonhole like these years for people. It was a 217 average and 318 on base. It did come with 46 home runs. The 46 home runs are tremendous, but there is this feeling that the year we just got from Pete is better than the last two we got from Pete.
Yes.
So it's like, which of those do you believe? And that's why the comp to Marcus Semien was funny to me, because Semien had the two best years of his career. 2 of the 3 years before free agency, got the huge deal. Now it looks like one of the worst contracts in baseball.
Yes. It's like one of those where you're like, I mean, they got their World Series. I'll take a bad contract to get the World Series. And if that's what it has to be, 7 years, whatever Pete wants, you're guaranteeing me a World Series in the next 2. But at the same time, it is scary because at least with Marcus Semien, he's going to give you still premium defense at second base. Pete plays first base, probably going to end up being a DH a good bit of the time as well. If the hit tool ever takes a step back, he's pretty worthless.
And Boris and Pete for a few years have tried to kind of anchor Pete's negotiations against non-first basemen. That's seemingly always been the goal. 2 years ago, if you remember, maybe it was before Boris, but it was Aaron Judge. Like the comparison that I don't remember if it was Boris or another agent, but they may compare Pete to Aaron Judge in terms of run producer, home runs and RBIs. And now this year you get the talks of Matt Chapman and Marcus Semien. These guys got 7 years deals. Why can't this guy get a 7-year deal? But
I guess Chapman and Chapman's 7 because he was already signed when he signed the extension. Is that why
1 year
it?
plus? Okay. Yeah, because that's what Boris literally said in that interview, especially in the Puma article. So then, but you get to the point here where for a portion of this contract, Pete Alonso has to be a designated hitter. He has to be. There's no question about that.
If you want your team to function at its optimal best.
Yeah. And it feels like it's probably a bit taboo to ever commit more than $20 million to a designated hitter. It's kind of just like it's similar to a closer where like you're impacting the game less so than players who just do more.
And I'm sure this is going to really piss people off, but again, Fangraphs does have a really cool feature where they tell you how much these guys are worth in terms of dollars for a given season, and it fluctuates because it is based on WAR, so this is like a WAR merchant calculator essentially. But at the same time, when you are talking about like wins above replacement is a valuable stat. Front offices are considering how valuable is this player. They're not using WAR. They have their own calculations and their algorithms and stuff that they use, but it's all going to be relatively similar when you look at a player over a length of a contract. How valuable is he going to be? You can't really just go off of counting numbers. And Pete last year was a $28 million player. Fantastic. Great year. Love it. The previous year, he was 16. The year before that, he was 22. But then 2022, he was a $30 million player. Like, there is such a fluctuation here with what Pete's worth is in a given year, and it does really all come down to how well he is hitting, because we know the power numbers are always going to be there.
Pete also made this year, it was $30 million.
And I think that for the next few years, that's a fair value for Pete Alonso, around the $30 million mark. Like, I don't,
high.
It's a little high, but also at the same time, to get a guy that's going to give you the numbers that Pete is, I think it's fine in the short term, but you don't want to give 36-year-old Pete Alonso $30 million a year.
That's why, and I don't think he'd be into this because everything seems like he's doing it to avoid this. And you said the opposite when we talked about Pete last time we talked about, when you were like, you would be happy to give him 7 for 140. I want to give Pete the opposite. I'll give Pete 3 for 100. I'm buying 115 home runs, and I don't have to deal with 35-year-old Pete Alonso.
To be fair, like 7 for 140, I still think
No, but you're doing the thing the Yankees do when they extend these contracts out until the guy's 38 years old, and all of a sudden you have
$20 million is not going to hurt you ever with Pete.
$20 million will always hurt you if you have a lot of those kind of contracts in your roster.
If he hits 30 home runs a year, $20 million is fine.
Pete, I mean, I guess because at the end of Pete's career, you still probably profile him as a 2-win player just on the bat.
Just on hitting 30 home runs, probably, yeah. Especially, I wonder what his numbers go up if you just get rid of defense. Like, what would be his WAR if he didn't play defense?
Get rid of it?
What if
he's a fine offensive value?
He's probably like a 4-win player then. So
no,
then
probably not, because you can't accumulate that much. It's just a hitter.
He was a 4-win player this year with negative defensive value. How can we see that?
But again, the question is, Can he do what he did this year for the next 2 or 3 years? Like, can he? I truly don't know that. Like, especially when you think of the.
I actually I feel like he can. I do think he can. I don't think Pete's going to deteriorate as fast as we're calling for.
I don't think so either, but there's deteriorating and there's also just taking steps back. Like, Pete has the bat speed that will stay relatively high for a little longer. I think we have data that bat speed starts to go down, especially 32. So you have 2 more seasons where you should have 90th percentile bat speed from Pete Alonso. But just the fact that we've gotten these oscillations of the hitting ability and also how that comes from his mental approach to his at-bats, I think that's the part that worries me, because I'm very scared of Pete Alonso. That's a 230 hitter with an under 300 on base percentage. I'm scared of that. Even if that comes with 30 home runs, you just have Rhys Hoskins now.
I don't see that happening until he's like 36, 37.
30, maybe, but
like I think you. This is something that you've been doing also off camera. I'm not going to mention, but you've been ageist recently. You've been like 30.
I've been a little ageist, yeah.
You're done at 30. You've been doing some crazy shit.
I said that Pete's got 3 or 4 really good ones left, but 3 or 4 really good ones left means I don't want to give him 7.
So you wouldn't want to pay for the 3 or 4 good ones left to possibly risk that the 3 after are bad or not as high.
I think 5 for 1. I think 5 for 125 is like the perfect spot to give Pete and be like, that's kind of the take or leave it. The highest I'd go.
I'll also say this from a David Stearns perspective. I think you got to consider it, because at the end of the day, if Pete hits for the next 3 or 4 years and you build a team that you like, they're trying to win a World Series in the next 3 or 4 years. If they don't, David Stearns is probably not here and it's not your problem anymore. Like, that's a truthful statement. So maybe that's part of it too, is like, come on, Pete, like, let's find a fair AAV number where you're not going to hamper this team, but you're still going to get your money over that period of time. That's kind of how I'm seeing it too now.
I mean, there's also the opposite of what you said, where David Stearns knows that it's basically like 2 or 3 more years at this point, then it might not be your team. If you're going to go down, do you want to go down with your guys or the guys that you inherited?
That's also a fair question, but I think
we don't really know how David Stearns feels about Pete Alonso, and we know that David Stearns really cares about run prevention, and he's probably. I mean, David Stearns also has never had that many opportunities to sign guys into their late 30s at premium prices. So this
he did give Christian Yelich a big contract, and Christian Yelich can't play the outfield.
Yeah, so again, maybe that's something that you learn that lesson. That's a regret. Like, that's a fan favorite. You signed that for the huge year that someone had, and all of a sudden, you look at that contract every year, like, this isn't really that worth it. You could be playing. Yeah, but again, you ask Matt Orlow maybe right now, you're like, if I could just have Blake Perkins, Isaac Collins get some more reps, I could spend that $30 million to get another player somewhere else.
Also, this is the flip side of not giving Pete this kind of contract is playing the plug and play. And we know that doesn't really work to win. Like, there's no team,
not work.
There's no teams that have really won consistently by doing plug and play bullshit.
No, you win consistently by having superstars that perform well in big situations. And again, that's where this whole question lies. Is Pete Alonso like a marquee superstar talent hitter still?
That's why it's probably the in-between of us, where like I said the 7 for 140, you said the 3 for 100.
5 for 125.
5 for 125. Sign it, shake hands. That's the deal. That's the contract. And I do think that gets it done. World Series Game 1 is on Friday. Dodgers versus the Blue Jays. Blake Snell on the mound. I know you're a big Blake Snell guy, James. That's the guy that I'm looking at for this series, especially with Game 1 coming up. The Dodgers aren't letting these relievers come into the game early. They're going to push Blake Snell far, and he's been, one of the best pitchers in the postseason in history. He's been so good.
That's future Hall of Famer Blake Snell to you. And yeah, I'm looking for Blake Snell. I think we're probably going to look at an over 18.5 outs on the books. We'll probably see 7.5 or 8.5 strikeouts. We could see juice too. I know this Blue Jays team doesn't strike out. I know they've been a team of destiny, but this is kind of like the immovable object versus the unstoppable force, or whatever that saying is. I'm going Blake Snell all the way.
Yeah, Blake Snell's been money. Blue Jays too, like, while they put so much contact, or everyone likes to tell you that they're built on contact, this team, Blake Snell still has the ability to strike these guys out. That being said, the matchup between him and Vlad Jr. is going to be fascinating to watch, because Vladdy eats against lefties. Blake Snell's got that fastball. Like, that's going to be must-watch at-bats in this World Series as well.
I'm still stuck on the matchups between Blake Snell and Ernie Clement.
Yeah, that's the one that you're locked in on.
Can't miss that. That
could be fun. Take some Ernie Clement hits. Take the over on hits for Ernie Clement, just because that guy refuses to get out in the postseason. Also, did you see in our last one that we mentioned where we gave some bets? Josh Naylor, and we took the over on outs. Someone parlayed that. One big. So shout out to our picks right now. We're looking pretty hot.
Ernie Clement over half a hit, and Blake Snell double parlay the outs and the strikeouts.
There you go. Simple. Love to see it. Guys, Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code FOUL. That's code FOUL to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first $5 bet, plus over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, fees may apply in Illinois. 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer.
This show is brought to you by Fox One. Fox One is now live. Stream all your favorite Fox shows together in one place and the World Series, every single game on Fox One.
I can't wait to watch the World Series this weekend, Friday and Saturday night on Fox One. We're going to have Blake Snell, Yoshinobu Yamamoto for the Dodgers. No announcement yet, but probably Kevin Gausman and Trey Savage for the Blue Jays. Marquee matchups.
Honestly, just really proud that you pronounced Gausman's name right. That was really good. I mean, in the sponsored segment too. Way to go, James.
I flipped on it. I've done too much writing in my past rather than talking and video making and podcasting, but now I got the names down, ready to go.
A lot of big games, big storylines. It's the World Series. This is it. After this series, there's no more baseball. You got to tune in. You got to watch. Fox One is where you do it. From MLB postseason to NFL on Fox to Big Noon Saturdays with Fox One, you get it all live. Start your 7-day free trial today. Offers are subject to change. Go to fox1.com for complete terms and conditions. Fox One, streaming now.
Do you think Pete still holds some mental real estate on the contract that he turned down years ago from Billy? What was that? 100%. 6 for 160.
We've spoken
like the Freddie Freeman contract.
We've spoke to Pete. He thinks about it every night.
Yeah, because then I would really be anchoring the Freddie Freeman deals, the Matt Olson deals. Matt Olson signed that deal when he was 27 years old, so much younger than Pete, and that got 8-year deal with only $20 million AAV as a premium first base defender. And he had some good years, but some inconsistent years. And Freddie Freeman signs that contract at 32. Off a World Series as like a bona fide Hall of Famer, 6 for 160. You literally split the difference of those two deals. I don't know. That's why, again, maybe also we're being done by saying 5 for 125. Like the market really might not be dictating that. How much different? I guess the qualifying offer is a big difference now, not having that for Pete.
That's also why I'm like, I say 5 for 125 because that's somewhere I feel comfortable, and I think that would get the deal done. Because like you said, maybe the market indicates that he's a little bit cheaper, right? Is that where you were going, or you're going to say a little more expensive?
A little cheaper.
That's why I'm like, 5 for 125, I think everyone would be happy.
Also, we're talking about how confident you are in Pete Alonso after 34 years old, right?
Yeah, because that would be, 3 seasons from now?
That would be 31, 32, 33. That's his next 3 seasons. Yeah. Those are the ages.
And the last 2 years of that 5-year contract, I'll take my chances.
All right, well, pull up some other all-time great first baseman there that didn't exactly have great on-base abilities. Pull up, Miguel Cabrera. Look what Miguel Cabrera did after 34 years old.
I will.
Then check out Albert Pujols after 34 years old. Give me a look at Ryan Howard, who had the exact 5 for 125 whenever that deal was signed, and that literally was the death knell into the Phillies' run. In
Miguel Cabrera, a lot of injuries.
Totally a lot of injuries, for sure. It's a different thing.
I think they were also playing him at third base for a lot of these times, too, weren't they?
Also, an inner circle first ballot Hall of Famer. One of the greatest right-handed hitters of all time.
No, there is a hard number, but it's for 2 more years. Because, again, I think where we have to think about this is that as much as we know David Stearns wants to build this great organization, right, and wants to build sustainability and all this, if he does not get close to winning a World Series in the next 3 years, he is gone. There's no
100%.
way that Steve Cohen's keeping him there. So as much as David Stearns probably wants that sustainability and might be worried about 34, 35-year-old Pete Alonso, might not have the flexibility or the opportunity to be like, I got to be really thread the needle again here because Pete helps you win.
Yes, but if you're thinking like that, you're already done. It's already over.
I don't think that's true at all. You got to try to win right now. I think if David Stearns is worried about 35-year-old Pete Alonso, he's not focused on winning a World Series in the next 3 years, which means he's not going to be here.
I think that you have to avoid 35-year-old Pete Alonso like the plague, honestly. None of these first basemen have ever been good past this time. Literally, the greats of the position. Mark Teixeira was retired at 36.
For sure. It could be the death sentence for it. I shouldn't say that. That's a little dramatic. Because it's not the Miguel Cabrera contract where he was signed for 100 years. But
no, it was only 8 at the time. I think he signed at 31 or 32.
It might have been 8 or 9 years because he played until he was 40. But
yeah,
that might not be his problem.
No, you're right.
And I think he has to think like that.
No,
and I
but
think
you can't think like that. Once
Why?
you lose your process, you've lost everything. You have nothing anymore. Then
But
who are you making decisions for? Us? It's not our. It's not for us.
You're making decisions to win and keep your job. Like
to win. Yes.
You don't have Pete Alonso next year. This team's worse at the first base position. There's nobody available that's going to play first base that is going to be as good as Pete Alonso
at hitting.
Yeah.
But
the defensive thing doesn't matter because we know that first base defense is not important. Vlad Guerrero Jr. is dog shit at first base. He is horrendous.
A couple of low plays this postseason. I think Vlad Guerrero as an athete's a lot better than Pete Alonso on defense.
Let's see. What was Vlad's OAA the last few years? Because he's
I'm sure it wasn't great, but he looks like a cat right now.
Yeah, 26th percentile this year. Last year he was -9 OAA at first base. Like I think first base defense, especially because he's got the scoops, you'll give that up when you're hitting 40 home runs and driving in 120 a year.
But no, for sure. Even with the scoops, though, he's like the worst first base defender in baseball.
I think you'd be short-minded to not give Pete a 5-year deal to worry about 34 and 35 when you might not be here.
But you don't. I still don't think you started the 5-year deal. My point was, I think the ceiling is a 5-year deal. I think that we have on pretty good accord, just looking at historical comparisons for the greatest first baseman that we've seen in the last 2 generations of baseball. You get to 35, it's usually not going to keep moving.
Sure, of course,
and that's it. So you try.
Now that being said,
yeah,
I'm happy. We're gonna wait. This is going to be a waiting game with Pete Alonso. He's not signing until January or February again. Like, there's no way he signs in the year 2025. And if he does, it's probably because the Mets say 5 for 125. And he goes, that's the best I'm ever going to get. Take it.
Or the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim gave him 7.
Yes. Up until then, we're going to be playing a waiting game. He is going to have a more active market, though, than he did last year.
Another quick break. Talk about our friends over from Lids. Lids, always the go-to for all things MLB hats, jerseys, and apparel. Lids can now be your go-to for all things top trading cards, including Bowman Chrome, which are available now.
Yeah, Bowman Chrome. If you're chasing the next best prospect, you got to be all over Bowman Chrome. I'm a card guy myself, so I'll be ripping some packs, going to Lids, get my packs, because it's just impossible to find these sometimes. And also, check out these fresh hats we got. James, is this the first Mets fitted hat you've ever owned?
The first one's ever fit me well.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, it looks good on you. It looks good on me, too. I've got a few of them. Always been shopping from Lids, obviously. Best deals. Get your officially licensed MLB hats. Shout out the Mets. Love the colors here.
And again, whether or not you want to be ripping packs, getting hats, getting jerseys, make sure you text Territory, TERRITORY, to 29017 to receive 20% off your next purchase of any headwear or apparel at any U.S. Lids store. Some exclusions do apply. It's going to be more active, but again, every team in the league is going to anchor with the Olsen contract and the Freeman contract, and every single general manager is going to be thinking about the Miguel Cabrera contract.
Yeah, but I'm saying 5 years. I'm not saying 8.
No, I'm saying, but he wants 7. Last time we talked about this, you said 7.
I would still do
crazy.
7 for 140.
I would not do that.
Sign me up. Shake hands. Give him all the money now. Give him $30 million a year, and then at the end he gets paid 10. What about that?
Okay, if they want to do that, because if you want to build in first base to DH, we can have that conversation too. But
we might have a lockout. You don't know what's going on, Pete. What if you never play baseball again? What if Major League Baseball ceased to exist? That's what I'd tell him. Be like, the lockout's coming. Get your money now.
Also, to say all this at the end of this, I just want to say how impressed I was by Pete Alonso this year, going through what he went through, signing the Prove It deal, and fucking proving it in such a massive way. All the process stats were better. He found a way to get to that A swing more consistently. I know he's still not pulling the ball as much, but he doesn't have to because he's Pete fucking Alonso. Like, it was night and day what he was able to do. But it's weird that there's so many new stats in Baseball Savant in the last year. This is how we'll end. There's always a few that I don't really know how to judge them ever. And it's specifically the launch angle sweet spot percentage and the squared up percentage.
So I looked up squared up percentage, and I think it is very much it's a weird one where it's how many times did you hit the ball as well as you could no, it has nothing to do with the placement of the ball, I think. I think this is the one where it's how well you hit the ball based on how hard you swung.
Okay.
So I think, let me double check this real quick. Good podcasting. Let me look up Luis Ariz real quick. Yeah, he's got incredible squared up percentage because he swings the bat slower than anybody, but he still hits the ball like 98 miles an hour pretty consistently. So he's elite at squaring up the ball based on how hard he swings. Guys who swing harder are going to have a lower squared up percentage unless they're the best hitters in baseball.
Yeah, and this year, the big one for P2 is the launch angle sweet spot percentage, which, wow, some of the people who hate numbers are really turning us off right now. But that's just
20 minutes in. They turned off already when we were arguing about $25 million.
Like, pay Pete. He's a franchise icon. He's a great guy. He's a good Italian.
I want Pete.
But it's just the fact that this year Pete Alonso was able to kind of improve his hand-eye coordination at 30 years old. It was impressive to get the barrel in the bat more, get the A-swing more, have a tighter spread of his launch angles, and more consistent line drives and fly balls. Like, that's amazing. But that's also things where they've oscillated before for Pete, and they could oscillate again. And next year, if you sign Pete to the big deal, he's a 250 hitter again with 315 on base. I wouldn't be that surprised.
All right, we'll see. We'll find out. We'll see. We're going to talk a lot more Pete. And he's, again,
so much more.
He's not signing for 4 months. So we're going to talk more about Pete. We're going to talk more about other options too, which sounds depressing, but might be a true reality we have to speak of. That's it for this episode, though. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. Make sure you're subscribed to Mets'd. Make sure you follow us on all our social media at Mets'd as well. You can follow James at
James Shiano.
I'm Draftnik Mark with the C. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. We'll catch you all in the next episode. Peace out.
Peace out, guys. Let's go Mets.